legally binding agreements are becoming fun, I guess you could say, and practical way to bring intentionality to dating. So of course we have invited matchmaker and dating coach Katy Clark to join the conversation and give us all the deets. Good morning.
Good morning.
So glad to have you. Okay, so there's more than 46 million posts on TikTok right now highlighting this concept, and we have heard about relationship contracts, but what exactly do they do, especially when it's a contract that's not a marriage contract,
right,
and it's not a prenup.
Right.
So what is it?
It's not technically binding, but it's this idea of an accountability metric. So you're going to share your standards, you're going to share your core values, you're going to see if they align, which is so important in relationships, and then you're going to write that down according to them, and you're going to see if you can stick to it in that relationship.
Okay, so what do you recommend that people put in this contract if they're deciding, let's have a committed relationship?
Well, anything that's of a core value to them. So first, always make sure you know your personal core values, which what I always say is it's your standards, how you want to be treated and how you want someone to treat you. So, and in that way, you're going to start creating that list. So for example, fighting. How are we going to fight? This is how I want to be treated when we fight, and this is how I'm going to treat you when we fight.
You know what?
So you write that down.
That is so good, because I feel like a lot of the times when couples argue, they say things that they don't necessarily mean, and I feel like that should be a rule. Like, don't say nothing to me that you don't mean in 20 minutes. Like, I love that. Okay, let's keep with that, and let's talk about some discussion points that you could put into that, specifically maybe religious beliefs.
Yes.
Because I think that's a big thing as well.
Religious beliefs, and how are they going to play out in your relationship? You might not be of the same religion. Are you going to spend time at your religion, and how are you going to work that out together? Holidays, how is that going to work? Are you going to honor each other's religion and spend time together in both? And that really needs to be kind of at a forefront. I believe religion is important, especially in a relationship, to keep that community and that bond.
Absolutely. Okay, this is a big one for me. I feel like me and Katy are going to be on the same page, although me and Jane have had this conversation multiple times. Let's talk vacation, dates, and who pays.
Who pays,
Who
right?
pays?
So let's talk about vacations. Like, what is important to you? Travel and adventure, or just staying local and taking those long drives? And in that way, who is going to pay for these things?
Right.
That is a very hard discussion point. And if you can't even get these down in paper, if you can get these out just by speaking them, you're going to be ahead of the game, because a lot of people keep this kind of under the board. And I'm going to ask that guys bring it up. I would love for men to lead in these topics.
Yes.
But ladies, if they don't, you need to just bring it up. Like, hey, can we talk about a couple things? Like, let's talk about who pays for this. You also need to talk about whose salary is maybe different in the income level. So you've got to bring these things up so that you have a successful relationship.
Exactly. I feel like a lot of people want to just cross the boundary when they get there, and that's the problem that people are running into. So you say, don't forget to add a fun element to your mission statement of this contract. What do you mean by a fun element?
So my husband and I, we have our 5 core values, which is basically our mission statement. And one of the things that we wrote down is friendship. Like, we want to be besties.
Yes.
But what does that really look like to him, and what does that look like to me? So keep friendship at the forefront, really building that trust and community and that bond together. And what does that look like to each person?
Absolutely. I do like friendship. That should be your main thing.
Yeah.
When you're with your person, you should feel like, this is the only person I want to hang out with in the
That's
world,
it.
and that's possible.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so what are some pros of having this so-called relationship contract?
Is that you had the hard discussion. You did what most couples avoid, and you are now, expressing your needs and your wants and your value set, which is highly important in a continuing relationship.
Absolutely.
And just you've now really created a bond between just the two of you that only you guys can fulfill together.
Exactly.
So it's like creating a goal and a next step.
I almost feel like your pro can almost turn it into a con as well, too, because of the simple fact that if you have these conversations, it can open you up to things and say, dang, should we really continue this?
Right. They're hard conversations. So that is a con. You're going to have to learn how to conversate well and, be flexible and kind of work with each other on that. And then you're also going to have to minimize your expectations, because what if somebody does break a part of that contract? Exactly. Is that going to be also part of the contract?
What are the consequences?
Right.
Are there consequences written in the contract?
Correct.
My goodness. Well, this is actually really something smart to have. And I think even if you are already married, it's a good thing to maybe go back and pull this into your relationship. I think it can only help you guys, right?
Hey, that's what we're here for.
There you go. There you go. Where can people find you, Katy? You always have good knowledge.
Oh, datingwithkaty.com, and that's Katy.